Well, a bit of a wide receiver exchange here. Isaiah Horton goes in the portal. CJ Daniels, initially of Liberty, nice season at LSU here in 2024 with 42 catches, has signed with Miami. Uh, are you surprised that Isaiah Horton? I guess you can't be surprised that anyone goes in the portal, but it's
Right.
not like there's a playing time issue. The guy caught like 55 passes.
Yeah, that was one, it a little questionable, I think. Um, in line for a huge impact on, next season. Like he's the number one returning receiver. Even if we were to go get some guys, it would be to build out the room and complement what he brings. Um, and Miami's put years into him and his development and things. It's a longer kind of timeline than, or a similar timeline, but from the beginning of like Colby Young, he came from like JUCO, but similar kind of thing. Like you bring this kid in, a 4-star recruit out of Tennessee, and groom him and develop him to the point where like he's one of Miami's top receivers currently, presently, right now on the number one offense in America. But that's the nature of the beast with the transfer portal and things like that. I mean, he was Miami's number 2 receiver, like 56 catches, 616, and 5 touchdowns. Now Jacoby George had more touchdowns and yards, so he had a little bit more explosivity than Isaiah Horton. But yeah, man, that's I don't know. So there's rumors and whispers about wanting more NIL money, which is really what it comes down to, and things like that. Um, I'm hopeful that maybe this is a situation. This is a me thing. This is a me thing. I am hopeful. Not saying that I've heard it in reporting or anything. Which like I've kind of stepped back from that kind of close connection and more commenting than reporting, which I very lightly did 5-7 years ago, whatever. Anyways, but in my brain, I would like to see that if he came back, and then teamed up with CJ Daniels and JoJo Trader and Nikar and whomever. Um, we'll see about that. So that is a hit, but hey, man, that's the nature of the beast. So yeah, you go get CJ Daniels. He played 3 years. He redshirted a year at Liberty. 11. He had the COVID year also was his freshman year. But 11 catches then, 37 catches the next year, 3 catches. He got injured in 22. Then 55 for almost 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns last year, 2 years ago, excuse me. Before 42 catches for 480 at LSU. No touchdowns this year, but this is a guy who has, if I just click back, was that 21 career touchdowns? Like, okay, he didn't really have that explosiveness in a LSU passing offense that was. Nussmeier is very talented, but he wasn't the most consistent passer. So I understand that. But again, the guy who scored 21 touchdowns previously, we're not going to pretend like he can't find the end zone. But, he's a big physical kid, and I'm excited to see what he can bring. And we'll see whoever else, is going to be joining this team.
I guess I'm answering my own question most likely when I serve this up. But in a situation like you've got an established number 2 receiver who could be the one next year, he hits the transfer portal. And let's just say that is the sole incentive is that I can do better in NIL. Whether he has done, and again, I'm not speaking specifically to Isaiah Horton, just to a number of players out there that are in his position where they're going to be sought after. Whether he has or that player has a firm confirmation of what the going rate is, what he can command, or if it's just kind of this feel that I make X, Y, and Z, I can do better than that.
Yeah, I mean, this is bringing to light what happened in the shadows with the Bagman and all that stuff in the previous iteration of talent acquisition. These guys have, excuse me, agents and advisors and whatnot for NIL purposes, and they need to lean on those individuals to steer them in the right direction. Sometimes that works, Sometimes it doesn't. We'll see. But it does seem like Miami is making a trade of sorts with Presley Horton in the portal and CJ Daniels having confirmed or committed to Miami to come in out of the portal at that wide receiver position for next year.
So, in regards to guys that are visiting Miami, what are your thoughts about just in regards to the guys that you covet
Mhm.
and think are good prospects?
Well, also Miami landed Zachariah Poiser, excuse me, from it was right there, Jacksonville State, redshirt freshman safety, big kid, 6'2", 190. He's from Wildwood, Florida, which is northwest of Orlando. It's just a little bit south of the Villages, if you know where that is, or Ocala. It's between Orlando and Ocala, so on the way to Gainesville, but not all the way up there, but in that Central Florida corridor. This is a guy who comes in with all kinds of talent and everything. This is a kid, 75 tackles, three interceptions, two fumble recoveries, and an 80.1 defensive grade on Pro Football Focus. This is a kid who's from Central Florida, grew up as a Miami Hurricanes fan, not far away from Gainesville, and him coming to Miami, Poiser, that is actually it's a great story, man. It's a lifelong dream. He didn't have that profile necessarily coming out of high school. He played, some basketball, played some receiver and things, red shirts at Jacksonville State, steps on the field for a team that was then coached by Rich Rodriguez, and really showed and proved that he's a guy with the kind of talent to elevate himself moving forward. So he's taken that opportunity to come to Miami. He has 3 years remaining coming out of the portal. And and I know oh so very well, Miami desperately needs help in the defensive secondary. This kid was the number 2 ranked safety in the portal. Like, I get that, okay, he was a mid-low 3-star coming out of high school like 2 years ago. So, he wasn't like, oh man, Jaden Bonsu went to Ohio State, was everybody's All-American, right? Now he's in the portal and he can land wherever. It wasn't like a dang, we missed out on him. Da-da-da. He wasn't at this level necessarily from his profile, but he goes in there, works really hard, puts it on the field, puts it on film. Now he's coming in. So that's really a great get. I want to see, maybe another couple guys in the secondary. So, to your question, I want to see that.